Hey everyone, this is Andres Soglal of Extra Time TV, and I'm joined with the Naparima head coach, former national player, one of my favorites. I always remember that goal against Canada, always. Angus, how are you?
I'm good, and nice to be having an opportunity to speak to you and your viewers.
All right, so we know the season is about to start. Naps are the current champs. I spoke to some of the players, and they are aiming for the treble. Winning it 3 times in a row. So we know the first game is Wednesday. Am I right?
Yes.
So a lot of people, there's club football, which is very different. You manage teams as well, Northeast Stars, St. Anne's Rangers. But high school, what would you think is really the key difference? Because it's obviously going to be different.
Well, it's very challenging in the sense of you have three different type of players that you have in the school. You have the ones who using the sport for scholarship. There are boys who using the sport to hire their education so they could go back into their family businesses and stuff like that. And then there's the guys who actually want to be professional footballers. So it's a balancing act that we have here. And it's very different than club football. It's very challenging, but you just have to adapt to the situation and make the best out of it.
Yeah, because there is the misconception about, in school at least, about the balance between academics and sports. And admittedly, after speaking to other coaches, Roger, who recently took over Faizabad and a couple others, there's a real emphasis, which I like, presentation, naps as well, to get that balance. So, in terms of objectives for the season, what is Naparima? You're going to go all the way again?
We're definitely going to try. We know we lost a number of players, but again, that's how it is. Das and these guys went off to university away. We had some guys going off to UTT, and some guys actually with the national on the 20s and on the 17s. We wouldn't have them available for about 7 or 8 games, nearly the whole season. It's not a problem because we have guys here that I'd never work with just 11 players. We work with a squad, and we have a squad of players that we believe in. We have a number of players who I think are upcoming players and would make an impact for themselves and for the school in the upcoming season. And we're just going to put our best foot forward to try to do something that nobody has ever done and ever will be able to do, which is winning it 3 times for the first time. So that's our aim. We want to play football in the right way. We like to play passing football. We like to teach the game of football. And I think once you do the right things, you usually get the results that you desire.
Yeah. The thing is, a lot of people have been asking, we've been asking the players this, but I'm pretty sure you're familiar with the FIFA games that probably occupy all those young kids. Are you one of those guys who indulge in that, or you don't? You play on the field?
On the field. My kids do it, but I really don't have the time. My life is football. I really So I'm always like, watching tapes and looking at fellas like Pochettino because I like the high pressing style. So I look at I love Tottenham and Spurs. So you're on Klopp, these guys and them, and I like the way that they play, and that's what I try to put into the teams I have. We like to attack. My teams like to play football. Hence the reason why we have a big pitch, and we want to play football. We want to entertain, and we want to win nice. We want to win with giving the people in the crowd. I let the players go out and express themselves, and defensively we're very rigid. We're very strong. As you see, how much clean sheets we keep consistently, over 7 clean sheets in every season, because we just want, and then on the other half, go and express yourself, because football is about enjoyment.
Yes. One new aspect of the game, when we played, I had a very brief one game stint back in the day, when we were younger, I guess. In terms of media coverage, the Sportsmax element is coming in. It may be a new aspect for the players to deal with. Is that something that's affecting the players, or is it indifferent? What is the reaction from the players, you think?
Well, they relish in it actually, because when they play for the clubs in the Pro League on the 17s and 18s, and there's no real exposure. So this will give them exposure, because even if a boy has to go to university away, they still want tapes of him. They want not just the education part, but they want to see that he can contribute for their teams. And this Sportsmax is in North America also. So this will put the boys on the map in that way. We have a number of players now playing with national teams like Shane Sand, Sandy and Rondell Payne, who has never played at any level. And when they played for Naparima, that's when they got their exposure, and now they're on the national under 20. So, yeah, most definitely. And we've been preparing the guys, all these sort of interviews and stuff like that will also help them. I do a lot of speaking with them in group and allowing them to go in front of the group and express themselves. So, we prepare them for every aspect of the game.
Yeah, so basically, from what I'm gathering, it's not just sporting, it's also psychological, working on the players, etiquette, and so on in terms of media. I also saw in the background while you were training, the younger kids were playing. I think it looks like the under-14s. Is that part of the project that you are working on overall?
Yeah, we do a total. That's the reason why I said, even if we lose 8, 9 players, we have guys coming through still. We have the coaches working with the younger kids, the first formers and the under-14s. They were working at the background. We have the under-16s and the premier team in one. And we stagger the coaches. So the under-14 coach will work with the under-16 as assistant, and the assistant at the under-16 will work with me as assistant. A head coach, sorry, at the under-16 will work with me. And so once we have that balance, we bring them from up. We're not reinventing anything. It's world football. That is how it's done. And we just replicating the programs that the big teams do. The Tottenham Hotspurs, as I said, the Ajax and the Barcelonas and all of these. We following the prototype of them and trying to make it in an environment where we can develop young footballers. Too much times a player reaches a national under 17 and he still has to learn the rudiments of the game. So we want them to learn it from now on.
Okay. A lot of people don't know, and well, they should know. This is your 3rd year, am I right? Or is it?
This is 4th year.
4th year, wow, so 4 years. So this is not just some overnight project. This success has been created based on, your system. What I'm very impressed with after speaking with other coaches is that there seems to be a lot of teams are preparing. I think Naps, you all came from Tobago. I spoke to Roger and they are doing their thing. I think they went to Tobago as well. Prayers are doing their thing. So a lot of people, it seems to be that it's going to be a lot of well-prepared teams this season. So I don't know if you have any messages out there for the fans or the what to expect from Naparima College this year.
Well, nothing except that I think the national coaches must respect the work as it's been done down here. The coaches are putting in the work. Not everybody will have the same level of qualification. Not everybody will have the same level of experience. But at the end of the day, the coaches are working very hard. I've played in the league. We have played in league now for 4 years. This is the 4th season, sorry. And you see each year the teams are getting more competitive and they're getting more, they're getting tougher and stuff like that to play. The league is not an easy league. And I think that the national team coaches must respect what is going on here, because when they pick players, they pick them from this league. When we played, when we went to the World Cup in '91, we were a bunch of school kids, me, myself, Dwight York, Anthony Sherwood. We came directly from the Colleges League, qualified, first Trinidad team, qualified for World Cup and went. So we have a history of doing that. And when you had the opportunity to do something, you don't want to take it away from a little kid. And we can play here. There are players who are playing for Pro League teams. Nicholas Dillon has not played a game for Central FC so far. He's on the bench because Kenwin Jones is in front of him. Jabari Mitchell, the captain of the national under-20s, he's with W Connection, has not played a game. Is he going to be sharper than one of the boys who are playing competitive football at any level? And this is a question that we have to ask. Okay,
that's a very interesting point you raise, because speaking to many other people as well, there seems to be a disconnect between, the national setup and at high school level. And, a lot of people throw out solutions carelessly. Well, they need to talk, whatever. The generic statements. What you said there is something, these things obviously maybe stunt the growth of a lot of these players. And do you see any foreseeable solution in terms of maybe the high schools maybe put together like a union of some sort? I don't know, lack of a better word, where everybody get down and discuss what's best for the national team.
Well, the national team have to be a part of the conversation. When you look at the Pro League, for instance, the Pro League had under-17s this season. There is no gap for the under-20 players, because the under-20 players now has to go into Pro League teams. The Pro League had a league this year is under-17, and you can play 5 senior players. So where does the players who are between the ages of 18 and 21, where do they play? So they get lost in the system. There's a big gap there, and there's a big gap in it. The only league that plugs that gap is the Colleges League, and they must respect what the Colleges League is doing. As I said before, Rondell Payne and Shane Sandy, they never played for a national team until they start playing for Naps in this league. got the exposure, got the experience of playing, and now they're national team players. Gerard Das, he was not on the national team. He was a central midfielder. We brought him in and we put him in as a striker, changed his game up, and now he wasn't making the national team. He's making the national team now. You're banning the local school league and the American system. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but the American college system, you could play 2 minutes, you come off, you put on against guys, a fet match. He goes off, he comes on, he goes. They have 4 captains, and we play 90 minutes here. So you didn't stop them from playing, but you stopped the boys here from playing. It's nonsense, utter nonsense.
Yes, this is definitely, obviously, there's some issues that need to be sorted out. We all know that even before. So, listen, I know the first game is Wednesday, so we'll definitely be there at the stadium. So we don't want to keep you back. We know you have to do your routine. So listen, it's always a pleasure. Those of you who don't know, listen, find that video online and see his goal against Canada. I remember it to this day. I tried to replicate it horribly. Many balls were lost in the minor around John Bush trying to do it. So it's not easy. So it's always a pleasure, Angus.
Thank you.